What if everything you believe about time is wrong? Imagine the moments of your life aren't lined up in a neat sequence. Past, present, and future might be woven together in ways you've never considered. In theoretical physics, the concept of a block universe posits that time is not so linear, but rather a structure in which every instant and possibility coexists. Meanwhile, in the realm of the human mind, Carl Gustav Jung once suggested that meaningful coincidences can bypass ordinary sequences of cause and effect, hinting at a reality deeper than clock time. Before you dismiss these ideas, consider that quantum experiments repeatedly defy our common sense. A single particle can exist in multiple states until measured, zapping the notion of a stable timeline. In this video, we're about to cross a threshold. We'll explore how mind-bending quantum phenomena, like superposition and entanglement, converge with Jung's radical theories of synchronicity and the collective unconscious. Together, they challenge everything we assume about how events unfold. We'll also weave in the wisdom from ancient traditions that have long taught time to be illusory or cyclical. We're embarking on a journey that zeroes in on a critical question. Does the quantum realm validate Jung's insights into the psyche, or do they merely mirror each other in intriguing but unrelated ways? Prepare for a series of revelations, each building on the last, that will leave you questioning your day-to-day assumptions about memory, destiny, and your very sense of reality. Strap in. This is not your typical spiritual meets science conversation. We begin with the man whose understanding of the mind revolutionized how we perceive the human psyche, and who dared to propose that the psyche and the physical world might be far more connected than we realized. Carl Gustav Jung was not merely a psychiatrist, he was an explorer of the deep psyche, charting the invisible contours of dreams, symbols, and myths. He proposed the psyche wasn't a closed-off fortress of personal memories, but an expansive domain, sheathed within layers shared by all humanity. He called this shared layer the collective unconscious, populated by archetypes, universal patterns that shape our thoughts, feelings, and behaviors. Now, hold that notion close while we peer into quantum physics. At first glance, quantum physics deals with subatomic particles, wave functions, and probabilities. Not exactly the stuff of human psychology. But one of Jung's more controversial concepts, synchronicity, might nudge us to think otherwise. Synchronicity points to meaningful coincidences that seem to defy cause and effect logic, as if there's a hidden tapestry linking mind and matter in a non-local way. That strikes a chord with quantum entanglement, where two particles share the same quantum state instantaneously across any distance outside classical constraints of time and space. Are we simply layering scientific jargon over mystical speculation? Or is there a deeper truth here? One that philosophers, spiritual teachers, and scientists have approached from different angles. In the next segments, we'll see how Jung's intangible realm of symbols and the quantum realm of probability might be describing parallel aspects of a fundamental interconnectedness. We'll begin with Jung's core ideas, because without understanding the architecture of the psyche, we risk flattening these analogies into shallow metaphors. Let's open up the blueprint of the mind according to Jung, to see how our inner universe is perhaps as vast and paradoxical as the cosmic quantum realm. In Jung's system, the psyche is more than what we commonly call mind. He divides it into the conscious, the personal unconscious, and then a deeper ocean, the collective unconscious. This isn't just philosophical speculation. Jung observed recurring motifs in patients' dreams, myths, and religious traditions across diverse cultures. These archetypes, like the mother, the hero, or the shadow, are not shackled to a single culture or era. They appear globally, often with eerily similar faces. Think of these archetypes as psychic blueprints, organizing principles that shape how we experience life. For instance, the mother archetype extends beyond one's personal mother to a universal sense of nurturing and creation. The shadow archetype represents the repressed or denied aspects of the self, which can manifest in dreams or be projected onto others. Jung introduced synchronicity as an acausal connecting principle. Consider you're thinking deeply about a lost friend, and they call you at that exact moment. Jung would say, that's more than chance. It's a meaningful coincidence. The significance arises from the subjective experience. Your emotional state, your line of thought, merges with an external event in a way that seems guided. Critics wave this away as anecdotal happenstance, but Jungians propose that such experiences reveal hidden patterns bridging psyche and environment. These ideas can be unsettling because they suggest the mind might have a subtle link to events unfolding out there. But let's hold that possibility. As we transition to the quantum realm, prepare to see how that same notion of improbable connections, outside normal cause and effect, is central to modern physics. The next step is to delve into wave-particle duality, superposition, and entanglement. You'll see how uncanny these phenomena are and why they challenge everything we thought we knew about direct cause and effect in a straightforward timeline. Quantum physics is notorious for defying everyday intuition. At the subatomic level, an electron can behave like a particle one moment and a wave the next. This phenomenon, known as wave-particle duality, confounds the idea that an object must be one thing or another. Instead, the electron remains in a superposition, a mixture of all possible states, until an observation or measurement forces it to choose. This is the so-called observer effect. Despite the phrase's easy misinterpretation, it doesn't mean your personal awareness magically changes reality. Rather, the act of measurement, any interaction that extracts information, alters the system in a physically significant way, collapsing the wave function into a definite outcome. It's as though the world of quantum possibilities is fluid until pinned down by an interaction. Then, there's quantum entanglement, famously dubbed spooky action at a distance by Einstein. Two entangled particles remain linked so that measuring one instantaneously influences the state of the other, no matter how far apart they are. This defies our classical sense of locality, suggesting a hidden connectivity that transcends physical distance. In quantum mechanics, we confront a realm of endless potentialities, only some of which crystallize into reality. It's an inherently uncertain world, governed by probabilities rather than definite laws, at least until measurement cements a particular outcome. On the surface, this might appear miles away from Jung's ideas about archetypes and synchronicity, but the next leap is to examine a parallel phenomenon. Can a scenario involving meaningful coincidences across inner and outer events reflect something akin to entanglement, albeit in a psychological form? Could our mental states co-arise with physical events in a manner that similarly bypasses classical notions of time or causality? This is where we venture into the intersection of quantum entanglement and Jungian synchronicity. Consider Jung's synchronicity and quantum entanglement side by side. In synchronicity, the link isn't about straightforward cause and effect. Instead, inner and outer events appear connected through significance or meaning. Perhaps you are wrestling with a profound personal dilemma, and suddenly you encounter a symbolic event, a random conversation, or a book falling open to a precisely relevant passage. The external event resonates with your internal state. No physical cause directly explains the timing, yet the combination feels too precise to be mere coincidence. Now, presence. An entangled pair of particles. Once they're entangled, measuring one instantly defines the state of the other, regardless of the distance between them. The correlation is acausal from a classical standpoint. It simply is. We talk about wave functions, collapse, and non-local correlations, but we don't find a classical signal traveling in real time to unify them. In both Synchronicity and Entanglement, we see a challenge to the typical notion of events requiring local, sequential cause and effect. In Synchronicity, meaning, weaves an untraceable bridge between mind and matter. In Entanglement, a quantum state does something similarly baffling in the realm of physics. The parallels are conceptually tantalizing. Might they reflect a more general principle of connectivity in the cosmos? Yet caution is warranted. Jung wasn't claiming that atoms literally share meaning, and quantum physicists balk at the suggestion that wave function collapse is directly caused by your psyche. Still, the thematic resonance is difficult to ignore. Each domain hints that the universe may harbor deeper patterns of unity than our standard worldview allows. Next, we'll explore the synergy between the observer effect in quantum mechanics and Jung's understanding of how consciousness co-shapes our experience. The question is, do we, in some small but crucial way, participate in forming the reality we observe? In quantum physics, observation means any interaction that extracts information from a system, effectively causing the wave function to collapse from a set of possibilities to a definite outcome. This is not a passive act. The measuring device or observer becomes inextricably intertwined with the quantum system, forging the result in real time. It's as if the potential realm of quantum states is forced to make up its mind. Jung, on the other hand, demonstrated that the psyche is not a blank screen merely observing the world. It actively interprets, filters, and structures our experience. Our unconscious beliefs, archetypal patterns, and emotional states shape how we perceive and engage with reality. When synchronicity occurs, it's as though the outer event is so intertwined with the inner mental state that the two become reflections of the same core meaning. Could this be compared to the role of a quantum observer that forces a wave function to collapse? In a metaphorical sense, one might propose that consciousness shapes the realm of possibility into the specificity of lived reality. If we remain in a purely materialist viewpoint, such notions might feel like a stretch. Yet the tension it raises is important. Do mind and matter share a deeper field of interaction that standard models of cause and effect overlook? In the next step, we'll explore how archetypes and quantum fields might both be fundamental scaffolds of reality, if we embrace the idea that, behind every event, whether psychic or physical, lies an underlying source of infinite potential. Jung envisioned archetypes as universal forms that can manifest in myriad ways, much like quantum fields produce the tangible particles around us. The synergy hints at a potential blueprint that spans both the mental and the physical domain. Jung's archetypes are not concrete images, but rather potent, underlying patterns that shape how consciousness unfolds. Think of them as living templates in the psyche, predispositions that color our relationships, choices, and even artistic expressions. They often remain hidden, coming to the surface in dreams, visions, or creative works. Meanwhile, modern physics increasingly sees fields, not particles, as the primary fabric of reality. Particles may be local excitations of these fields, momentarily appearing as discrete entities. If we trade orbits and billiard balls for cosmic fields and wave functions, the basic building blocks of nature are more like ripples in an invisible ocean of potentiality. When conditions arise for a ripple of sufficient intensity, a particle emerges. Drawing a speculative parallel, archetypes might be akin to psychic fields. They lie dormant until an event or inner state resonates with their pattern, bringing them into conscious experience. Just like quantum fields can manifest an electron when the right conditions converge, the archetypal fields might manifest heroism, maternity, or shadow aspects in a human life scenario. If this is so, we may be glimpsing two manifestations of one universal principle, that underlying each dimension, mental or material, is a realm of pure potential awaiting expression. Of course, one should be cautious. The existence of quantum fields is backed up by rigorous experiments, whereas archetypes remain interpretive concepts within psychology. Still, the conceptual echo is compelling. we're about to take this metaphor further by comparing Jung's process of individuation, bringing unconscious contents into consciousness, to quantum collapse, in which superpositions become a single observed reality. The question is, does the mind's journey toward wholeness mirror the transformation from potential into actuality in the quantum world? Individuation, in Jungian psychology, is the process of integrating the fragmented pieces of the psyche, both conscious and unconscious, into a harmonious whole. It involves encountering archetypes like the shadow, the anima/animus, and the self, often triggered by life crises or significant transitions. In the course of individuation, latent aspects of the psyche move from potential to conscious reality, forging deeper self-awareness and authenticity. Curiously, quantum mechanics also deals with potentials that aren't fully realized until a measurement or collapse. An electron in superposition has multiple possible states, but once measured, it becomes one definitive outcome. Similarly, you could say that unexamined parts of the psyche remain in a state of psychological superposition, influencing thoughts and behaviors from behind the scenes. Through introspection, dreamwork, or synchronicities, these concealed potentials come into awareness, becoming actualized aspects of one's conscious identity. This is not to declare that psychology literally mimics quantum physics. Physicists would be quick to emphasize that quantum superposition is a strictly defined mathematical phenomenon. Nonetheless, the metaphor invites us to reconsider how the reality we experience, physically and psychically, emerges from vast possibility. Just as the wave function's collapse can be viewed as a shift from possibility to fact, individuation is a shift from unconscious illusions to conscious realization. The parallels, though engrossing, shouldn't overshadow the differences. Before we escape into a haze of mystical romanticism, let's examine the criticisms. Is it truly valid to compare quantum entanglement with synchronicity, or wave function collapse with personal growth? We'll address these concerns by looking at the line where analogy ends and evidence begins, setting the stage for a balanced conclusion that neither dismisses these ideas nor claims them as ironclad proof. While the symmetries between Jung's concepts and quantum phenomena are striking, one must differentiate correlation from causation. Physicists are rightly wary when quantum terms like entanglement or observer effect are applied loosely to subjective experiences like synchronicity. The mathematics of quantum mechanics is rigorous, validated by highly reproducible experiments. Jung's theories, though powerful, are grounded in clinical observations, case studies, and interpretive analyses. Nonetheless, it's not mere happenstance that both realms highlight the breakdown of naive linearity. From the vantage of classical thinking, the world is built of discrete objects affecting one another in measurable ways through space and time. But quantum entanglement operates outside classical frameworks, bridging distances instantly. Jung's synchronicities defy conventional explanations, bridging internal psychological states with external events. In both, the tapestry of events suggests a web of non-local or acausal connections, something resonant with the notion of a universe not strictly pinned down to a mechanistic timeline. Yet it remains prudent to note these parallels are conceptual. They might point to a deeper unity, or they might be illusions conjured by our pattern-seeking minds. Jung saw evidence that mind and matter could be two facets of one underlying reality, which he called the unus mundus, or one world. Quantum mechanics, in certain interpretations, also hints at a primordial unity preceding the distinction of observer and observed. Whether or not these ideas converge into a testable scientific framework is an open question. Still, such parallels provoke meaningful reflection. They remind us how incomplete our models of reality might be. As we near the end of this exploration, it's time to synthesize these threads. Does bridging Jung and quantum physics open a door to comprehending time, meaning, and possibility in new ways? Or is it just a poetic lens to appreciate the grandeur of existence? If we take these parallels seriously, we're left with a vision of reality that isn't cut neatly between mind and matter. Instead, there may be a continuum or a shared ground in which psychological and physical events both arise, sometimes displaying uncanny interdisciplinary echoes. Time, as we commonly experience it, might be a simplified lens on a far more complex existential tapestry. Moments of synchronicity could represent glimpses behind the veil, revealing that we live in a participatory universe where meaning plays an irreducible role. From an ancient spiritual perspective, many traditions, Buddhism, mystical Christianity, shamanic cultures, have long suggested that time is cyclic, illusionary, or multi-layered. Quantum physics, with superposition and entanglement, appears to confirm that linear sequential rules do not hold at the smallest scales. Jung's theories invite the mind's deep structures to partake in this cosmic dance, implying that events in our lives might also obey hidden patterns. Another alluring synergy arises around the notion of wholeness. Jung's individuation aims for holistic integration of the psyche. Quantum physics, in certain interpretative frameworks, glimpses a holistic universe that cannot be completely reduced to independent parts. If reality is indeed a grand unity, then perhaps the separation of inner and outer worlds is more about our mode of perception than an ultimate truth. This perspective can be both liberating and daunting. It forces us to acknowledge how little we truly grasp of our existential condition. Could it be that you and I, in this very moment, are participants in a reality shaped by mind, matter, and meaning, dancing across boundaries we barely comprehend? As we approach our final reflection, consider how these possibilities might change how you see your life, your sense of self, and your relationship to time itself. No matter where you land on the scientific or spiritual spectrum, one conclusion seems inescapable. Our conventional understanding of reality is incomplete. Jung raised eyebrows by claiming that the mind mingles with events in ways standard science can't easily explain. Quantum physicists, for their part, discovered phenomena that appear to defy local, linear causality. Both approaches, each in its unique domain, converge on the idea that surface appearances can be more illusory than we realize. This exploration is not meant to provide definitive proof that quantum physics validates Jung's theories. Rather, it's an invitation to keep asking deeper questions. If synchronicity can be seen as a psychological counterpart to quantum non-locality, and if our choices and attention can co-create aspects of our experiential world, what implications does this have for how we live? If time is not so rigidly linear, might your future exert a pull on your present, just as your past shaped it? We invite you to ponder these mysteries and share your perspective. Do you believe synchronicity offers us genuine clues about a universal connectivity? Or is it simply coincidence colored by our human search for meaning? Do quantum uncertainties echo in our personal journeys? Or do we project our hopes onto scientific theories? Let us know in the comments how you interpret these convergences. If you found this exploration valuable, consider subscribing or forwarding it to friends who might appreciate a deep dive into the interplay of psyche and physics. As Jung once said, "He who looks outside dreams. He who looks inside awakes." The real question remains, are these dreams and awakenings part of the same cosmic tapestry? Explore the evidence, question your certainties, and continue the conversation below, because the universe might be listening in more ways than one.